Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am so excited to be here today, and I have Coach Angela with me. Coach Angela, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, we have something very important to talk about today. We always do, but today is even more important because we do have a reading crisis, don't we?
Definitely. And it's
Yes.
it's kind of statewide and country. It's in
Yes.
a reading
And it's
crisis.
not skill based. The problem isn't skill. It's more than that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get started, Angela, I don't know if you've been watching our live shows. We always start with becoming coming now and here because most of us love to spend time in the past. How about yourself?
Yes. I'm trying to get out of that, retrain my brain, but it does. Spending time
Yes.
in the past. What
Yeah.
should I have done?
Yeah.
Why
Should
did I
I
do
done?
this?
Yeah. Why did I do this? Why didn't I do this? Right. And then usually we're not consciously saying let's go to the past and spend a lot of time over there and let's think about what I should have done, could have done. Right. It's
Right?
automatic. It gets pulled automatically. Right.
Definitely does.
Yeah.
When events happen, you're triggered, automatically goes to maybe I should have
Yeah.
done that earlier.
Yeah, and also sometimes I don't know about you, but I get waked up. I also get woke up from like my brain will wake me up and take me to the past and to start thinking in the middle of night. I'm like, excuse me, we're not thinking about this right now. We're gonna sleep.
Yes.
I
And
need
it
to
can be
sleep.
one thing. It can be one thing that happened during the day. You just can't seem to
Yeah.
let it go.
Yes. So past going to the past seems to be like everybody does this, not one person. Everybody is doing it, and it's not even you want to do it, your brain just automatically does it. So how do we stop it? Obviously, we have to catch it and tell the brain, talk to the brain, right? We have our talk to the brain and tell it like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to read the same chapter again. I don't want to watch the same thing again and again and again and again. I only want to take the lessons from it and I just want to let it go. Can we let it go, right?
Yes.
That's all we can take from it. So then I don't know about you, Angela, but also the future. A lot of us like to think about the future, which is very beautiful, right? To think about the future is good. It's good. But unfortunately, we don't just think about future, we actually think of it from the projecting the past onto it and thinking it's almost like a lens that goes in front of the future, which is the past. And then through that, we look through it and then we say, you know what, I don't want to do this because it might happen like it happened last week. I don't want to do this because it's going to happen like I did last year. Like all of these things will start forming for our
Yeah.
future,
Hmm.
right? Does that happen to you?
It does. How I can prevent it from happening, or I'm picturing how it should happen. What should happen
Yeah.
next? And a
Yes.
lot of times it's based on what I've done in the past.
Yeah, it's usually from the past. So it's great to think about the future. And I'm not saying not to think about the future because it's so important. But the thing is, we don't want to project the past and think about the future because then we're not really letting future happen to us. We're like recreating from the past, which we don't already know we don't want it. So why would I want to get it? Why would I want to create it in the future? It doesn't make sense, does it?
It
So,
does.
what can we do with the future? We know something beautiful is going to happen to us. We want that. So, why don't we
Mhm.
just bless it and release it because it's just available to us? It'll come to us when it's time for us to have that. So, when I do the letting go of the past and releasing the future, look, I have both of my hands. I can be here and now. This is a powerful place to be. This is where we all learn. This is where we live, fully can live. And this is the only place we can lead ourselves and others from. Unfortunately, we cannot do that in the past, thinking of the past or the future. Only in this moment can we create all of these. So, as we bring ourselves to now and here, is there something else you do, Angela, Coach Angela, to really bring yourself and ground yourself to this moment that you
Um, I
practice?
I take a moment to just do some breathing,
We love
those
breathing.
deep breaths. It helps me
Yes.
to say, okay, now, forcing myself to forcing my brain to say, I'm focused on what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Do you have a special one that you practice?
I don't have a special one. I think mine right now is the kind of breathe in, hold for 4, and breathe out. The
For
one that
how many
kind of
counts?
hold for 4
Longer or
counts.
same? 4 counts, all 4. Okay,
Yes.
let's do it.
Mhm.
So let's inhale for 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. Again, inhale for 4, hold for 4, and then really exhale for 4. Letting go everything and anything, any stress, any fear, any worry, just let it go. Okay, one more time. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. And let go everything and bring yourself now and here, because this is the only moment we have and we don't need to worry about anything else besides this moment, right?
Yes. This
Awesome.
moment.
So we want to talk about the real reading crisis. It's really is not skills. It's going to be something else. We're going to share with you that, but everyone's chasing what? When it comes to reading, everybody's chasing for the strategy that's going to work, the new programs that's coming out, the new framework. We have to use the new pacing guides. Like we just have to get something new because it's not working. Where's the new things that's going to work, right? But even if we bring all of this, something isn't adding up because students, kids are not learning. They're not reading.
Not learning. Right.
So what's happening, Angela, Coach Angela? What is actually happening then?
But it's not so much, as you said, the frameworks or the strategies. They can be good or they may not work so well, but we have to look at the students that we are teaching. And a lot of times we are teaching to students who are not feeling safe to learn, or they are mirroring what their teacher is doing. The teacher seems to be upset, and that child goes into a threat. It's basically what the nervous system is supposed to do, and it causes them to shield themselves. So we have to we're looking at strategies that know that they're evidence-based, the frameworks, but then there's some missing piece there when we are actually getting to these students. And learning the strategies and framework can get overwhelming to the teachers and the students if they're used to learning one way and now they have to change and learn another strategy. It becomes them learning along with the student. So everything is just not lining up correctly.
So you're saying that the teachers have to learn all these new things that are coming in, and
Yes.
and then at the same time they're learning, they're teaching. But then even if we're bringing in all these new things, it's still not landing.
It's not landing because we need to take a look at those students. What are they ready to learn? If we are always looking at that pacing guide to always see, am I on track to where I need to be? Well, this student over here may not be on track and not ready. So somewhere someone's going to get left behind if we're always looking at that end result of what we want a score to look like. And to say that we stayed on track with the pacing guide. Again, it's not so much the pacing guide, it's getting our students ready to learn.
Yes. So what happens if we keep pushing our students to read and through this program when they're not ready? What is happening to them? What are some of the things you're seeing?
I like to think of that when we're pushing our students to learn. It's almost like seeing a closed door and asking it to open. When we push them, they are trying to keep up. They are trying to get all of this knowledge in, but inside they are not ready. So some of them will tend to shut down. Sometimes we look at that student who is not saying anything, not doing anything, not causing behavior problems, but internally their nervous system has went into that fear state and they've shut down, because then they start to think, I can't read. I won't ever learn how to read. Why are they able to get it and I can't? So we're continuing to push them further when we have not gotten to that foundation of them arriving in the room first thing in the morning. We don't know what they've come from. But instead, we have to go right into instruction And that student's mind may be still on what happened to them over the weekend.
Mm.
So we're pushing and asking for progress where we are not allowing them to show up and be who they are in the classroom.
And you as a teacher, I mean, before becoming a holistic neurogrowth success coach, you were doing a similar thing, right? Pushing the content onto the student. But now that as a coach, you don't see how this is even possible, right?
I do. It's looking at it now, looking back, it's when I look at the students, and I can almost pinpoint certain students who came in and I thought they were on track and they were doing okay, but I can almost see now that they were not getting the material. I can often see where they shut down, and it showed up in low scores. So you're thinking that maybe they can't read, but they're not ready to be able to, or don't know how to be able to express themselves that way. They're showing up in fear. Their insides is fear. So we have to start with what the child needs. We have to look at the input and what we are giving that child. And that first step is relationship.
Yes.
We don't have the time to build relationship with each student.
But that's the fundamental thing that needs to happen for everything else to happen properly. So if we keep saying there's no time to build that relationship, then we're not succeeding anyway.
It's almost like that spiral down. We're not starting with that foundation. So anything you're trying to build on the foundation, it may look like it's working at the moment, but then that foundation is going to start to crack. Yes. You can't build onto it without getting that foundation strong.
Yes. So why is there a crisis in reading right now? Like, why is it, what happened over the time? What is the big shift that happened to have a crisis in reading?
I've been trying to think about like where.
Yeah, where? Yes.
Where did that take place? And why is it that the children, and I just think it's more on a like we were talking about the forced messages or the forced things that we're allowing children to learn. So they are dysregulated. Each child has a unique SoulPrint. Each child is different. Their makeup is different. And if we are only teaching to that middle section or only focused on these few students, we're consumed with the behavioral aspects. We look at that behavior student as being a problem student, but they are just reacting from who they are. They don't know how to regulate themselves. And we as teachers are not able to co-regulate when we are also stressed. So I think the breakdown is in just how we start off, where we start the day.
You're saying the structure of how the school starts every single day has to change.
The structure needs to change. It's the time. There needs to be some time built in for those to build those relationships. And I know sometimes as a teacher, we do try to do those things at the beginning of the year. We try to take the time to get to know our students. But it should be something that is ongoing, not something that's just done for the first week of school, because things happen to these children throughout their time in the school year. So we have to always revisit those. We have to go back and see, what is it that this student needs over here? How can I meet this need? How can I meet the need of the individual? Not so much like the whole class. But
do you think it's affecting?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was saying with the.
No, I was just going to say, do you think Sorry, I was just going to ask: is it just affecting reading, or all of learning, all of the above?
it is definitely not just affecting reading. It is affecting the entire day. Especially, I know sometimes if I get up in the morning and my morning for some reason doesn't go right. As you said, sometimes spending the night in the past, spending the night in the future. I get up, I'm already stressed. I'm running behind. I'm getting there late. I'm getting in. I'm looking at my lesson plan. I got to get this done. I got to get this. Students are walking in. I'm not seeing what they're going through. They are not knowing what I've gone through. Not to say that we have to go through every minute, but we still need to be able to recognize what we need to do.
So if we don't do anything about this, what do you see is going to happen with reading?
It's been on a decline. I've been working on some research and seeing the different frameworks that are being introduced, and students are still not able to read, or even working with small groups of students in higher elementary grade, and they're still not able to read. We're raising like a generation of students who are not able to, I think, function well in society. And I feel like that reading is that basic step, because we have to know reading for everything else to work. And it's not, as we said, it's not just a subject. It's teaching that subject after we have taken the time to help co-regulate the student.
Yes. So where would we see we do nothing and we implement all these fabulous strategies and new programs and new frameworks and pacing and all sorts of stuff we can invent endlessly? Nothing's going to work. We know nothing's will work because we proven in our program that if you don't start with readiness first, nothing works anyway.
Right.
So where do you see all these students? Like, are they going to graduate with no way, like knowing nothing, like not knowing how to read?
Well, I don't know, just getting to that extent of not knowing. They are knowing enough. And I think, I don't remember the exact statistic as far as sometimes articles and newspaper articles and things are written almost like on the 6th grade level, because that's where our adults are reading on. So it's not so much that they are not going to be able to read something. I just feel like the value of life, if still not able to find that co-regulation early on in life, and now you are an adult and you have to deal with adult things along with not being proficient in reading, that's where the challenge comes. When we're having adults and students who are graduating who feel like they don't have the next step, or they feel like they cannot do the next thing.
So how do pacing guides impact students who need more time to guide, more time to build the foundation? What is a pacing guide? Can you explain to our listeners? Like, what is a pacing guide?
A pacing guide, and it's for like each subject. So there are those who are, I feel like, let's say I'm a person who is making a pacing guide. I'm looking at an imaginary student, and I am looking at how many days we have in school. I also look at where the student should be at the end of a 3rd grade year. How many words per minute they should be able to read, what skills they should be able to know how to do. So I look at the end result, and then I go back and starting from what they should have learned on that 2nd grade level, which a lot of them haven't learned yet, but looking at that, this is what they should have learned by the end of 2nd grade. So I start to make those plans or that pacing guide to be able to get from this point all the way to the end of the year. So I'm just making things up. You need to be here by the end of the 1st semester. You need to be at this point by the end of the year. So that's that pacing guide, whether it's, reading, math, science, because they're tested also throughout the year. So it's not just only end of the year, but there is a certain place they should be in order to have that assessment each semester. So making that pacing guide, if I'm supposed to know fractions by this test, then I have to have already taught fractions to my entire class. Whether or not they've understood addition and subtraction, I have to move on to fractions.
Yes. So what happens if the pacing guide is, how would that impact students who need more time to build that foundation? If I already built the pacing guide, I guess if they don't fit in, they fall behind.
Unfortunately, that's what seems to be happening is if that student has not gotten that foundation, it's either making the decision to see if that student needs another year retained to be able to get that foundation, or asking yourself, will another year actually make a difference? But a lot of times it is that student that is left behind because we still have to get to where we're supposed to be. And it is stressful for teachers because teachers genuinely do care about these children.
Yes.
They genuinely want to help. I feel like it's just not knowing how to.
Yes.
So if you're dealing with behavior a lot, you don't have the opportunity. Yes.
That's right. That's what's happening in classrooms, is all full of behaviors right now. So what does a blocked learner actually look like, so that somebody who's watching us right now can identify what does a blocked or dysregulated student or learner looks like?
Okay. A dysregulated student is one who they can be either or. They can be that student who is sitting in the classroom, who is not causing problems, who appears to be listening to your every word, but never raises their hand. Maybe does okay on a test, but you're not having problems out of that student. Or it could be that student who is always the behavior problem, constantly wants attention, constantly getting into trouble.
Yes.
All of that is those nervous systems who their internal nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. If they don't feel safe, your nervous system causes you to shut down and saying you're not safe in this area.
Yes.
If your nervous system is saying that, I don't know, you as far as thinking of that future, if you're always thinking about not so much future, but what's going on at home.
Yes.
It's not, they need to be in a safe place. So it's not so much of what we see with these different students, they're just not really present. And that goes for the student who's quiet and the student who's misbehaving. They're not present in that moment. And we have to take time to figure out why.
Mm-hmm. So what is the difference between a student who canned versus a student who's not ready?
Okay. Can't and not ready. Sometimes we have students who truly cannot. If you're not able to blend a word together, look at the sounds, blend it together. If you're not able to do that, you're just not at that point of being able to do it. Maybe you have not been given that extra help at home. Maybe you didn't start off in that manner. So that student maybe cannot do the work. They just need some extra practice in it. They need a little bit more of group help, individual help.
Yes.
A student who is not ready, you don't really know. You don't know if they can or can't. The one who is not ready is not giving you that output that you need because they have not gotten that foundation. We're giving them lots of information, but we're not giving them that relationship. We're not giving them the tools that they need. We say can't read, can't focus, can't sit up, can't keep up. We're making a statement about their capacity. So looking at the problem inside, we look at it as something that needs to be fixed. So we have a meeting, or we recommend the student maybe be on medication. Not ready is other questions. What does this child need? What was never met in this child? What individual part of this child is not ready to receive whatever? Because it's a student who's not ready, you can pour in information all day. If they're not ready to receive it, it's not going to be helpful.
Yes.
And that student, they end up not trying. And I think sometimes students they're being honest and telling us what's going on, but we don't have the time to effort that we should be putting into it. For example, we see a student come in and knowing that they are genuinely different from what you know them to be, usually lively, but now they're coming in and all of a sudden it's just sleepy, tired. I don't want to do this. I can't do this. Not even looking at the paper. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
We see a difference. Something has taken place, but we have to, those questions. Do I stop and deal with this student, or do I continue teaching the class on what I have to get done for today?
Yeah. So when you say unique learning identity, we call it SoulPrint, right? SoulPrint biology. Can you explain what that is for each child?
SoulPrint is the makeup. We're all born and given certain characteristics. It's not that it's slower, faster, better, not worse. It's not that. It's just the individual makeup of who we are. And we all have that.
Yes. So what we want is, with the SoulPrint biology, what we're looking at is, we are all given all these systems and we come with an identity to express ourselves. Unfortunately, over the years of learning it in the wrong way and learning being taught in the wrong way, in the wrong order, what happens is we start suppressing ourselves. Our own identity doesn't get expressed. So in our program, that's exactly what Readiness is all about. Readiness OS is all about, is to really look at what's being blocked, what's not being accessed, able to access themselves, and then getting them into flow so that they could express their SoulPrint biology, their unique identity, like you mentioned, right? So therefore, then learning can be accessible. It becomes enjoyable again.
Enjoyable.
Right? Yes. Do you want to add something? Do you have anything you were going to add?
I was going to say that word enjoyable, that getting back to the children enjoying and wanting to learn. The teachers getting back to that passion they felt of wanting to teach the material, that they can see that light bulb go off and it gives them that extra to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So what will shift when a teacher start honoring this SoulPrint biology instead of just forcing compliance or forcing new curriculums or new pacing system or whatever new thing that's coming our way? What will happen if the teacher starts honoring this?
There will be changes. First of all, seeing the change in that student. That student, again, who is now feeling safe to learn. Now looking at things differently. No longer, I can't read, but now able to be ready to accept and to take in what's been given, whether it is the material, a new reading strategy, the next step in math, their nervous system now says, okay, now you're in a safe environment and it's okay. I believe that it's going to see like exponential growth because we have taken that time to look at the SoulPrint, to allow the children to be recognized, that we know they're there, not just present in the room, but we know they're there, and they feel that you recognize me, you know me, you are taking the time. So it helps that nervous system to change from this with this always up here shoulders to down. And I mean, that happens with me a lot, just with the breathing, of always feeling like I'm up here. I got to get this done. I got to get this done today.
Yes.
And that gets that's being put onto the student unnecessarily.
How does co-regulation show up in real classroom? How do you see that happening in real classrooms? Co-regulation.
I've thought about that a lot. I have one simple thing that we can do in the mornings. And as I said, going back to that, what I remember in the beginning of the year, standing at the door, greeting the children as they come in, letting them know that I'm concerned. You know, I see you got a haircut over the weekend. Is that a new jacket? Something to let them know that you have seen them, to let them know that, wow, you know, I'm glad somebody noticed, because they do things to get attention, and that we're giving them that. It could be as simple as that each day. It could be a time during the day where you are getting to know each other, spending 15 minutes at the beginning of the day, even time walking to another. And I know sometimes with the hallways being quiet, but sometimes even just a conversation walking alongside a student. I noticed that you were looking a little bit down at the end of the class today. Is there something you need to talk to me about? Is there something that I can help you with?
Yeah, I think the school system has to be redesigned in a way that co-regulation is just, even in these micro moments, but as a whole, it has to become the education, part of the education system. We think that regulation is like just an extra thing that comes on whenever we need it, right? That's kind of how we are sprinkling it. We sprinkle it. It has to be the foundation. I mean, that is the new education system that has to be birthed, is building on human first, and that regulation first, safety first, and learning about the system, the SoulPrint system, so that everybody knows how to get themselves ready to learn, right? Not only just getting these kids to co-regulate, but also teaching them how to get themselves ready to learn. Because without being ready to learn, pushing any content in any, it doesn't matter how fabulous the content is, it's not going to work, because the people are not ready. And more kids have shown us that they're not ready. And that's why we have huge behavior explosions that are happening. And then teachers are caught in the middle of a big tragedy, right? It's a tragic situation for many teachers, because they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with a lot of the behaviors. So, and reading is that's the last thing anybody's going to think about. How do I get this kid to read? Because their behavior is the first thing we have to address to. And when behavior becomes the identity of a child, then that whole thing goes down another path, right? So definitely we need a new path. We need to create a new school system that honors this. Yes.
It has to be given that platform in a bigger way, where this part of it is a very important part. It's like I said, that foundation. We have to start. If we're doing a lot of new frameworks, a lot of new strategies, we have to think about it's not necessarily the strategy is not good, but it's still not being, they're not receiving it.
Yeah, it's not effective.
It's not being effective.
Yes. So if a teacher could change one thing tomorrow, what would you say would be the biggest shift for them if they could change one thing?
When I'm thinking about a teacher, and sometimes I'm thinking about myself, I feel like if I could change one thing, it would be working on my own regulation.
Yes. Love it. Yes. Come home to yourself first. Yes. You have to come
get that. Yes.
Go ahead.
I have to be that person to be able to show a student.
Yeah. Are you ready to teach? Are you in the readiness state? Are you ready to teach?
I am.
Are you ready?
Yes. I am.
Yeah. So that's the coming home, right? In order for us to say that I'm ready as a teacher, I have to come home first. When I'm not home, I cannot ask other people in front of me to come home and start teaching to them. I'm not home myself. So home meaning the soul. So that would be my biggest thing to ask every teacher watching this would be, are you home? Are you here? And if you're a parent, same question. Are you here? Are you parenting from being home in your own body? If you're not, then you're always outside of your body, which means that you're always reactive to what is happening. You can never be proactive about it. You're just going to be reacting to all the things that happens to you. So that would be the first thing. Thank you for saying that. That is amazing. Yes. Number one thing, are you home?
Yes.
Right. It's so important. So you cannot rush readiness. You cannot force flow, and you can definitely cannot test a child to have confidence in reading or any of the skill sets, right? You cannot force anybody to do that. You have to allow them to come home to themselves as well. Just like I'm saying, come home to yourself, the student also has to come home to themselves.
Yes.
So that they can also become proactive and active in their learning instead of just throwing out these outputs as behaviors that we don't know what to do with. So everything starts with, are we home first? Then we can look at what needs to be in alignment and activate it so that we can get into the acceleration state so that we can start performing. We can be in the flow state, and then we can perform and we can produce, and then I can learn, and then reading and writing and marks will be a byproduct of all of that, right?
Yes. And that is where the excitement comes, and that is where that passion comes back, is knowing that there is something I can do.
Yes. So stop telling the children to push harder or try better or try more or do more or read more or try this strategy or that strategy. Start asking the question, are they home? Are you home? Any of you leading the children, ask yourself, are you home? And then see what happens, because the minute you ask that question, everything changes. What do you think, Coach Angela?
Everything will change. Because it's a simple question, but it means so much. It has so much in it. To get back to that, get back to you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for bringing this topic. Reading is not only suffering, every subject is suffering in the classrooms right now. So, and teachers are struggling, parents are struggling, students are struggling. So do we have a problem at hand? Yes, we do. And can we solve this? Yes, we can. There is a solution that we've been doing it for so many years that we have the solution. It starts with readiness. It starts with coming home here to our own soul so that we can then express our unique SoulPrint biology, just like your own unique identity. So thank you so much. Anything else you want to add, Coach Angela, before we end?
No, I think that's everything.
Yes, and thank you for being a beautiful teacher and also a holistic neurogrowth success coach. And Coach Angela does offer programs for kids and adults, so reach out to her. She's on all social platforms, and she can also be reached under this as well. You can comment and she will find your comment here. If you have any questions about what she shared or anything that resonated with you or something that didn't, just tell us under this video and we will answer them for you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time on another live. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.